You've made it to the Pedigree project, which replaces a test for this unit, so you're not having a test because this takes everything and puts it together. You can put your name here and here. You're going to be a doctor in this case, a genetic counselor, and I'm just going to read the letter that was sent to you. Your name was recommended to me through the hospital that my family is affiliated with. Since I have heard many good things about you as a genetic counselor, I was hoping that you would be willing to take on my family's case. My significant other and I recently married 2 years ago, and we are ready to have a child. However, a certain condition runs in our family, and we are concerned that if we have a child, he or she will have the condition as well. We decided to contact you and see if you can help us determine our family genetic history, as well as provide some advice to whether we should have a child or not. I realize that this decision is entirely up to us, but we would like to hear what you have to say from a medical standpoint. Please consider helping my family. You may contact me at any time and let me know when I can set up an appointment. What you're going to do, there's going to be 3 appointments. Your packet is really long. Just take it apart at a time, and it's not that overwhelming when you do it one step at a time. So just focus on one appointment at once. The due date is on the board, so you can write down on that line if it makes you feel better when it's due. And please do not plagiarize in this project. Make sure everything is in your own words. Here's what we're doing for appointment 1. You need to pick a disease from this list, or a condition, because I guess disease kind of infers that you can catch it. I'm just going to call them conditions. So pick a genetic condition, sign up for it up at the board by the calendar. It's first come, first serve, so if you're at the end, you're not necessarily going to get the one that you want. This is the site that you're going to be using to research it. So for that, I put a link on BlendSpace. You can go and get to the link directly that way. Appointment 1 is a summary sheet like what you would find in a doctor's office. I'm going to walk you through this by kind of making one at the same time. And it's with a disease. I picked Dandy Walker. It's not on your list. It's just something different. I'm going to open up a new page here. And your instructions say, somewhere at the top of your page, include your name as, so I'm going to put Dr. Balistreri, and the condition was Dandy Walker syndrome. And you can change the font and do fancy things if you would like. I'm just keeping mine simple. Use the following headings. Use bullets and place your answers under the heading. So first I need signs and symptoms. And I'm just going to bullet signs and symptoms, going back over to my sheet. Dandy Walker syndrome is a condition that affects brain development, primarily development of a part of the brain that coordinates movement. We can keep reading. There we go. Signs and symptoms are caused by this disease appear in the first year of life. So I'm going to put appear in the first, actually let's put 80 to 90. It's hard to type. 90% of the symptoms appear in the first year of life. Most children have a buildup of fluid in the brain that causes increased head size. So I'm going to put buildup of fluid. Correct my spelling there. Buildup of fluid. Children have delayed development and delay in motor skills such as crawling, walking, and coordinating movements. So we'll put delayed development, motor skills, crawling, walking, etc. So you can see how I'm taking this and putting it into my own words. We could also say paralysis, LYS, of lower limbs. I'm not going to keep going, but just to prove a point, I want you to list signs and symptoms. Next heading, how common is it? Taking exactly what I have in the instructions. Bullet. How common is it? This should be a statistic. 1 in 25,000 to 30,000 newborns. If you are able to find if it affects men more than women or a certain ethnic group, include that as well. Genes of relevance. Now you may only have one, there might be more than one. Let's see. Gene of relevance. Researchers have found mutations in a few genes, so mine has a couple here. But these mutations account for only a small number of cases. So most of mine here are caused by trisomy, it looks like, where there's 3. So 3 chromosomes in a spot. So I don't have a specific gene. Some people, like if you're doing cystic fibrosis, it's the CFTR gene. You might just have letters and numbers. That's all you need to put here. Mine is going to be trisomy 18, meaning that there's 3 chromosomes there. Trisomy 13, trisomy 21, trisomy 9. Okay, and if I had a specific one, I'd list that as well. And you can see that this is how it's set up. I'm just going to keep going. You need to find how it's inherited. All this information on the site goes the same order. How do you inherit it? Most of mine have no family history. Some are. Okay, so mine doesn't really have a pattern. Other ones, like, let me just take a look here. Let's look at cystic fibrosis, because I know that one is inherited in a way that I'm looking for. Cystic fibrosis. So for the gene, they said a CFTR gene. How is it inherited? Autosomal recessive. That means you need 2 little c's to get it. If you go back to my instruction sheet, yours might also be autosomal dominant. That's like Huntington's that we saw on the one worksheet where you only need 1 capital letter and you have it. Sex-linked dominant. Be careful if you have a sex-linked condition that you pick. You need X's and Y's. To be sex-linked dominant, it only takes 1 capital letter. Sex-linked recessive would be like how we did them in your packet. We did not do any examples of sex-linked dominant. We only did color blindness, and we looked at hemophilia and baldness, which were all recessive. Diagnosis, how do we find if somebody has it? You can look at other sites. Can we treat it? Can we cure it? Look at other sites if you need to. 3 other facts that you don't already have listed on your page somewhere. Then you need to include a picture. So go to Google or whatever you choose, whatever search engine you like. Search for a picture. All of these that I picked, besides the one with the stars, are pretty physically disfiguring. So you're going to see some pretty big changes in what people look like if they have these. The ones with the stars don't have a physical change to them. The changes are all more internal. So if you have one of the ones that has a star here, then you need to find a picture of something that relates. So for instance, color blindness, you can't tell from looking at a person that they're colorblind, but a picture that people usually incorporate in their project are those color plates that if you go to the eye doctor, they have the number and you have to be able to see the number inside of it, and if you can't tell what the number is, then you're colorblind. Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about. And so that's what you would need to find if you have one with a star. Here is a checklist to make sure you have everything you need. When you finish, then move on to part 2 and watch the video for part 2, and I'll walk you through how to make the pedigree for your project.